Well, the evil fur minions left me quite the surprise at the foot of my bed this morning, and for once, I'm not actually horrified. Now, I have to admit that this is one of my personal all-time favorite horror series from the 90s and early 2000s. So we're kind of treading into the nostalgia waters, but we'll wade in slowly and not go head first. Today we're reviewing the Live Entertainment 1998 VHS release of The Wishmaster. To be honest, I'm actually really surprised how well the practical effects in this movie actually still stand up. The 90s CGI, not so much, but the creature costumes and some of the body mutilations still hold up fairly reasonable. Now, the movie revolves around a djinn, which is basically an evil genie who grants 3 wishes to the person that wakes him. And after the 3rd wish is granted, he's able to open a portal and allow the rest of his kind into the world, which basically means the end of our world. The movie starts in ancient Persia during a sultan's party of the century, and right off the bat we're slammed with some amazing creature effects. I mean, there's a guy half turned into a crocodile crawling across the floor. Well, we meet the djinn, and he's imprisoned in this man-made fire opal by a magician. So, jump to present day, aka the mid-90s, and we meet a drunken dock worker who starts a stone our path of destruction by dropping an ancient Persian statue on top of a guy. The statue breaks, revealing the fire opal. Enter our heroine, a rock star-esque appraiser with a tragic backstory that makes her overprotective of her little sister and unable to form a committed relationship with other people. Honestly, her backstory is kind of blah, so I like to think of her as stock hero number 58. Now, a pawn shop owner brings in the opal to have it looked at, and our generic hero 58 breathes on it to wipe away a smudge, and this wakes up the djinn. Now, let me say that again. Our hero breathes on the gem to wipe away a smudge, and that's what wakes up the djinn. Now, this always bothered me because obviously some time has passed since people finding the gem to her getting it. So why is she the one that wakes up the djinn? That's always bothered me. Well, anyway, she takes it to her friend-zoned guy friend that showed up earlier in the movie, who happens to work at a local university, who has a whole bunch of fancy electronic scanning equipment so he can look at the gem to see if it's real or not. Well, while he's going and doing that, she goes off to coach girls basketball. Well, unfortunately for the guy, the opal explodes, and we get to see a brief view of a cute little baby djinn right before it kills the guy. Now, the funny thing about this, I didn't really know this until I saw it, but the person playing the baby djinn is actually the same guy that is more known for playing Mini-Me from the Austin Powers movies. Now, this point in the movie is also where we discover that our generic hero 58 has a psychic link to the djinn, and she can see whenever he kills somebody. So she runs back to the university to look for her friend, and what is wrong with these cops? She's basically contaminating a crime scene, and she's basically walking on the dead body himself, and they're like, dur dur dur. So while our generic hero is doing some research on the gem and the statue is in, the djinn is going around getting more powerful. He steals a face off of a corpse in a morgue, and he's going around giving out wishes to people. I mean, yes, he ends up taking their souls eventually, but right away it seems like it's kind of a cop-out. I mean, throughout the movie, besides the 3 main wishes that he's supposed to grant to the person that wakes him, he gives out a total of 13 other wishes. Granted, after he consumes the person's soul, he gets more and more stronger. It seems like it's kind of a waste of magic. Of course, with that being said, we also find out that the djinns are the only magic left in our world. And actually, I shouldn't harp on how the Wishmaster uses or gives out these wishes, because there are a little set of rules that he has to follow. Granted, they changed it in the sequels, but basically in the first movie, the person has to ask something or have the Wishmaster do something for them. So he's kind of stuck because he has all this power, and yet unless somebody asks for him to do something for him, he can't do it. And he kind of shows off in the one scene later how frustrated he is because he can't use his power. So as generic Hero 58 goes off and looking into more about the statue and the opal, she runs into the gentleman that actually bought the statue and was bringing it over to America. And whoa, wait a minute. Is that Freddy Krueger? Holy cripe. And wait a minute. That's Jason, and that's also the Candyman. So, whoa, okay. Anyway, he gives her a tour of his nice, expensive house, and he shows off all the statues, and I looked in the background, and if I'm not mistaken, that's actually the demon statue from The Exorcist sitting in the back. Now, I kind of get what they were going for. They were trying to get all the really big horror things together, and to try and make The Wishmaster the big new series. It's kind of a nice little send-off, to tell you the truth. So, back to our hero, she ends up to finally have her first confrontation with the djinn. Well, first she has him shoot himself in the head. Does it work? Djinns are immortal. So she makes her first wish. She wants to know where he came from. Then she gets teleported inside the stone and is chased around by a sweet-looking djinn dog. And there's this weird little BDSM torture going on around his throne. She ends up wasting her second wish to get out of the gem. So Freddy Krueger ends up throwing a party, and with the djinn's help, it ends up becoming the new party of the century. All kinds of horror stuff happens, and my favorite part is when they're running down the hallway filled with statues of heavily armed armor sets from different cultures, and they come to life and start hacking and slashing and all kinds of stuff. So our generic hero, number 58, ends up using her third wish in this kind of a time travel reverse kind of a thing where she made it that the dock worker was not drunk, so he was able to lower the statue down without breaking it, which basically means the djinn was still locked inside the gem. And the movie ends with him trapped in the gem, waiting for his sequel. Here's your horror totals for you. This movie actually has 0 boobs in it, which is kind of surprising. I remember that the later sequels do have nudity. They kind of play up the sex, drugs, and rock and roll theme a little bit more, but not in this one. The death counter is way up to 23, and unfortunately, even in this movie, there are 6 jump scares. That's it, and don't let the evil shadow minions bite.